they're not just JPEGs. You're kind of missing out if you're an artist and you're not creating with NFTs or digital assets on blockchains like ordinals, right?
So if you are an artist over 40 and you're navigating through the weird, complicated world of digital assets, then maybe you got to head over to BlendsGroup, and then you can see what it's all about with some people who know what they're talking about and help navigate this brand new world.
The first reason I got interested in NFTs was that I felt they could let me leave my work on chain to preserve my activity and my music as a digital asset on a foundation that isn't controlled by any single platform. The second reason was ownership, like Justin mentioned about that. Not just on selling a piece and watching it disappear, but staying connected to it through rights, sometimes even through structures like royalties, so that creators can continue to participate in the life of the work. For me, that's creative equity. And then step forward being more sovereign as a creator.
Yeah. It sounds to me that you're essentially saying you have the choice of having attention, perhaps an ownership, and you learned from traveling and navigating the music industry and just kind of media, publishing media online in general, that you're more interested in the ownership than you are the attention. Does that resonate with you guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the main thing is that a lot of people have heard these great stories about how this artist and this person, this collection did so well, and their friend bought this collection, and now it's worth $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 for this, just the picture. Well, the thing about an NFT is that it's a non-fungible token, which simply means it is a unique token. If you look at it like that, it just means it's a unique token. And we can prove the uniqueness of any token by verifying it on the blockchain. That's the beauty. You know, there's the idea of proving something and trusting something. On a blockchain, you can prove, you can verify. You don't necessarily have to trust anything. So we can look at some of the top collections that are available on any blockchain. In this case, let's say the Ethereum blockchain. We could dive in and we can actually see the exact amount of holders of this asset. We can see which wallets are doing what. We could see this marketplace has 321. This is for lending. We could see that this is another wallet that's got 84 of these, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
So, but now, okay, so if NFTs are not what people think, then what are they? I mean, people make a lot of money with NFTs. That must mean that somebody loses a lot of money with NFTs, as well, no? And so when I think about that, okay, so for a person who's skeptical, and I would totally understand why you're skeptical in this regard, it's pretty healthy to be skeptical, especially when it's a new platform that's guaranteeing or promising some type of prosperity for you and your art. It's probably not going to go like that, and unless you put in a lot of work. But if ownership beats attention, then what if that ownership is not giving you reasonable returns? Is that not when you have to maybe go get clients or assimilate or something? I mean, Danny, what are your thoughts on that? Just like the skeptical side of NFTs, like why should somebody put their NFT on a blockchain? Why should they risk security, safety? Why should they risk trying something brand new, relatively speaking, for the promise of getting money? There's got to be a hesitation. And that's a question I would love to ask. Right?
Yeah.
I'd love to ask anybody, what's your biggest hesitation?
The hesitation is always just the unknown. That's all that it is. It's just you don't know what you don't know, and you've always done what you've always done. And a lot of it to the detriment of your own growth and obviously your own prosperity and wealth as well. So the world changes fast. Budgets change, clients disappear, priorities change, and the way that artists are able to represent themselves has changed, given something like creating digital assets and ordinals, like for the blockchain.
The reason why NFTs kind of slap me in the face so hard is because it's the simple idea of ownership. I lost so many connections. We've lost so many connections, lost our value in a sense as soon as a platform is no longer popular. And so will blockchains be the same? You know, you want to put your entire life and all of your creative work on Ethereum, and then Ethereum is no longer popular. Or you want to jump onto Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin is no longer popular. In my view, I don't think Bitcoin is going anywhere anytime soon. And it's essentially considered to be the gold in terms of digital assets. It's the digital gold. And to this day, if we look at the gold chart, we'll see the gold chart is actually up. There we go. So look at that. Okay, so gold is up, right? Gold is up, and Bitcoin is the digital gold. So this is why we are so certain that Bitcoin is the place to be for storing your art on chain. And it's just because of the idea of permanence. That is one of the major things. And we've discussed provenance. That is another critical part. Just being early on the chain, it's the time chain. People call Bitcoin the time chain. You know, you have to wait in line for these blocks to clear. You have to wait your turn. It's a pretty slow blockchain, but it's efficient. And I'm sure in some distant future, the blocks could be super fast and it's a whole different experience. And I know for a lot of you guys listening and girls listening, you may not know exactly what this means. But that's also part of the beauty. There's a new learning opportunity. There's a new substrate, or maybe let's just say there's a new material that you can use to create on. It's a new surface. It's literally a brand new surface for your art. Granted, it's a little pricey depending on the file size, but permanent storage on the world's largest decentralized network, to me, sounds like the perfect place for some real creative contributions. And so,
and then I think is a good time to that you can be Van Gogh, because it's early, still early. You can be a Van Gogh or sometimes a famous artist.
Yeah, you're not behind. Look, the link, of course, is in the description. Check out Junk. The earliest members to the community will be able to scoop up some exclusive digital assets. And I want to leave everyone with one simple question, but leave your comments in the section below. And of course, join BlendsGroup, because I want to hear your comments on our live calls, our weekly calls as well. It would be lovely to have the chance to actually dive in and discuss through conversation. But we want to know, of course, what kind of asset would you build first? You're building your first digital asset. You don't know what this world is about. You've heard about it. You're scared. You thought it was a scam. You still might believe it's a scam, but you're seeing what we're doing with Junk. Leave your comments below, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Bye.